If a work of art leads to violence from the spectator, does the responsibility fall on the artist or the spectator? Well, in the year 2000, an artist named Marco Evaristi exposed what he called a work of art, which he named Helena. This piece of art was considered of several blenders placed on the table, which were plugged to the power, and inside of them there were live goldfish. He invited the audience to turn on the blenders if they so desired, all the while knowing the consequences. Eventually, the person did in fact stand up and turn on the blenders on. This caused a lot of controversy among spectators and other people who choose to give their opinion on the subject. It's still debated whether it was immoral or on behalf of the artist or if it was the spectator's responsibility.
There are many reasons and factors on which a person acts upon, which is why it is illogical to blame the artist for the violence toward the fish. The spectator is responsible for his actions. Um, R.G. Collingwood once said, "The best art, the art that really matters, is the stuff that changes the way we interact with the world." This only goes to show that art can most definitely have an impact on other people's interactions, and when it comes to evoking emotions in us, art is really good at doing so. Aristotle's theory of catharsis can also be used to help argue this point of view. This theory states that our bodies need to experience a full range of motion in order to stay in balance, meaning that if we haven't felt sad or scared in a while, we will eventually start to crave those feelings. This is where art can step in and help our bodies feel this full range of motions by conveying certain feelings we crave. This is called catharsis. In this case, Evaristi's work of art helped the audience achieve catharsis by showing the goldfish in the blenders, making them feel a certain way and acting upon those emotions. There are cases in which artists are often credited for their amazing work of art that inspires positive change in the world, such as Uncle Tom's Cabin, which depicted an enslaved person helping a little girl. However, in this case, where work of art inspires bad actions or attitudes, why shouldn't the artist take credit for that as well? As Hank Green once said, aesthetic moralists argue that morality and art are interconnected. Any moral staying connected with work makes a work aesthetically flawed. Even if Evaristi's aesthetic concept was superb, the fact that he expressed that concept through immoral means counts against the overall aesthetic value of his work.
What the author tried to conclude with his work of art was how people reacted to the actions that were made. In the case of operating the blenders, he considered you a sadist. In the case of being against operating the blenders, he considered you a moralist. And in the case of just enjoying watching it happen, he considered you a voyeur. But in our opinion, these are unfair designations in the artist do not take into account that art, as Plato says, plays a lot with our emotions, but leaves aside reasoning. So, and seeing fish floating in the blenders ready to be activated can generate feelings of adrenaline, excitement, curiosity, and desire to do so. So, clouding the reasoning of the person who activated it and generating a false morality, in this case, a bad morality. So, in the case of operating those, does not have complete fault because the author is playing with his emotions. Although the artist didn't directly kill the goldfish, it can be argued that the art is supposed to transmit feelings and sway a person's thoughts in a certain way. Therefore, he indirectly persuades the audience to stand up and turn on the blenders. The artist's goal was to determine three types of people in this world: the sadist, the moralist, and the voyeur. This means that, in a way, he had all the intention of bringing these human characteristics out of the spectators and making them act upon their instinct. Listo.
In the autonomist view, Evaristti did nothing wrong in putting goldfish in a situation where they were likely to be pulverized because he was doing it in the name of artistic expression. Based on Sartre's ideas, we are abundantly free. If there are no guidelines for our actions, then each of us is forced to design our own moral code, to invent a morality to live by. We are condemned to be free, and even though the situation seemed crazy, Evaristti didn't force or threaten any of the spectators to activate the blenders. It was the free will of the viewers. In this experiment, the author tried to test the morality, ethics, and logic of the spectators within the parameters that would be considered normal in society. No man, I believe, would like to cruelly murder living beings. And the fact that the person who did set off the blenders does not represent or in some way tarnishes the image of the people who did not want to do it, possibly having a taste for murdering people. In life, we have millions of experiences provocating of provocation or to test us in terms of our ideals. And this is one of the cases. The author wants to test it in some way, our self-control or our morality by having the fish ready to be crushed. But just as this temptation is, there have been millions of provocations in our lives. Is the decision of us to fall into temptation?
In conclusion, as previously stated, we believe that each person is responsible for their actions. Therefore, Evaristti was not the one to blame for the immoral gestures done by the audience. Since this is the case, we don't believe that the aesthetic value should be damaged because of the wrongdoing of someone else. Free will is a topic that is heavily debated, and we believe that from a natural perspective, it is everything and a completely valid argument that nullifies the other posture.
Thank you.
Thank you.